I have a second channel, Cube Comp MTDX.
Hey everybody, so this will be the first video of something in here in the new tech room in the new home. Now I did actually shoot a couple videos back in the summer and fall in here of just talking about various topics, but I tell you what guys, it's so nice to be in a new home and actually be here in this tech room doing these videos again. Now, I'm not exactly 100% done setting this room up, as you may be able to tell. I'm still running a temporary light setup. That's because the subject of today's video is this power supply, which in the former computer room ran my overhead lights. So, before I put this into service, I wanted to actually open it up. It is kind of a mess. I didn't actually clean it out, so I'm going to probably regret it, but I want to open it up and just have a look inside it real quick, see if there's any bad capacitors. Still kind of on the fence if I'm going to keep using this thing. Now, you may notice this spot right here. I'll talk about that here in a little bit, what that's from. So, as you can see, we got this mess of wires here, and got these three wires here. Wire nutted into the 12 volt and 5 volt and ground supplies, because these used to go off and feed other things. Like this right here was the +5, which I wasn't using at the time, but I was using the ground and +12, and you can see just got this wire right here because I just had these literally wire nutted into the supply lines for my overhead lights, which are just LED, I think MR16 lights. So, my idea is to change this up a little bit. You can see right here I have had this jumper and what used to be the main motherboard connection, and this would more or less keep the power supply running at all times when it was plugged in. So this mark up here is, I guess, from the oil from my fingers, because every time I would plug this thing in, of course I'd reach right there to plug it in, and reach right there to unplug it. So it was like this daily, every single day. That's about I would plug in and unplug it, plug it in, unplug it. You get the idea. And of course, it actually wore out the not the socket. The socket's okay, but with time, that did put some wear and tear on the cord I was using. So when I moved out of the old single wide, I threw away that particular power cord. So one thing I want to do, again, as I mentioned, I want to open it up, see how it looks inside. And I plan to do some modifications here. I plan to get rid of the bulk of this excess wiring, because this is not a typical standardized power supply. Now, it does follow the ATX standard as far as all the connections and stuff goes. And I mean, I think it actually does follow a standard design. I forget what it is off the top of my head, but it's nothing that I don't have any computer cases here that take this style power supply. I'm trying to remember where I even got this thing from. I think I pulled it out of a case, but I no longer have that case. So if you're curious what the ratings are on this thing, this is a little 200 watt supply. Yeah, max output power 200 watts. It can put out 15 amps on its plus 12 volt rail, which was kind of nice for what I was using it for. Let's see, 16 amps on its plus 5. It's got a 2 amp 5 volt standby. That's typical. 16.7 amps on. Yeah, it's funny. They on the 3.3 volt rail. It's 16.7, which is interesting. And of course your minus 12, which is 0.3, and then this thing even has a minus 5.2. Yeah, there is in fact a white wire on that connection down there. That's interesting. So, like I say, I'm kind of on the fence if I'm going to even reuse this thing, because I just want to have a look inside it real quick and see if it's even worthwhile, in my opinion. So it's got a screw there, screw there. It's got a screw back here, there, and there. I think it's those 5 to get the tech out. So let's go ahead and take your screws out and see if we can get inside this thing. Because to be honest, I've got some other power supplies that would be good candidates to modify into a bench power supply. Now, for 5 years, I was only needing the plus 12 to run my lights. So theoretically, I could just go with this regular plus 12 volt supply just to run my lights, but I do kind of like having the additional voltages available, because there may come a time where I might need 5 volts or even 3.3. It's funny, these screws are not, and they're very tight. I don't ever recall opening this thing, ever. So I don't even know what we're going to be. I don't know what we're going to find in this thing, to be honest. So I believe this is an FSP manufactured unit. Looks like an FSP unit. Huh, that's interesting. Not sure why I'm taking loose there, but let's see if I can get this cover off here. Jeez. Well, guys, look at that. You see this? They got a screw hid behind the label. That's lovely. Wonderful. So they got they pretty much had this secondary heatsink bolted to the case, which I've seen that sometimes in Sparkle and FSP units, but I've never seen one actually hidden never actually seen one hidden by a label like that before. So as I suspect, this thing is pretty dirty inside. I mean, it's filthy. Although I can say this is a pretty solid built unit, I'm still not sure if I'm gonna keep it in service or not. One reason is because in years past, this thing, we would sometimes hear an arcing sound from what sounded like the EMI filtering stage, like maybe there was something loose in there. Maybe like a loose solder joint on one of the coupling capacitors, one of these like capacitors. Not really sure, but I mean the unit has ran, ran for all these years. So it's got TPO capacitors all throughout, which is not the greatest brand of capacitor. I think I see a couple of Jamicon caps in there too. So, and I also see the dreaded yellow glue that with time, as it gets old and as it gets hot, or as something gets hot, it will actually start to conduct, which I'm not a fan of that. This thing's got it all in it. I'm just trying to eyeball this thing to see if I can see any spots, like any burnt spots, because I have to wonder about that noise I used to hear from this thing years ago. I I mean, amazingly, the thing never exploded on me. But let's get you a close-up look. Yeah, I'm probably going to just scrap this one, just part it out. Might seem kind of crazy, considering it was a working unit, but I mean, the thing is pretty dirty. My concern is with the condition. I'm not sure if it's going to be worth keeping it going too much longer. Because I like something that's pretty easy to get inside of to service. Should I need to service it? So I think I'm going to actually end up using a different power supply for running my lights this time, because I'm going to do a few different things to it. Number one, I'm going to probably the unit I choose to run my lights, I'm going to probably take all these extra wires out of it. All the extra wires, take them out. Just replace them with a few wires. Just a wire to run plus 12, a wire to run plus 5, a ground wire, maybe a 3.3 volt wire, and also I'm going to install a switch on the green and black wires. That way I can switch off the unit. I can basically power it off without having to actually unplug the thing from the mains power. So that way I won't have this again. Yeah, I did want to open this thing up just to see really what was inside. Now theoretically, yes, I could clean it up and put it back into service. But with the all that yellow glue that turns conductive as it gets hot with time, pretty much what it does is in areas where it gets dark, where it turns like a brownish color. I can see it in a few spots here and there where it has. It gets conductive, and it's not a good thing. And this thing, although it's a decent little unit, it's just jam packed in here, and yes, it when it's jam packed like that, it collects dust, and it just gets messy. Get you one more little close up here. Like I say, once I get my lights installed, I'll have much better lighting in here than what I got right now. But there's your look inside of it. So anyways, guys, I'm going to now find me a different power supply to potentially use to run my lights. So I'm going to choose an ATX supply. It's going to have your plus 12. It's going to have plus 3.3, plus 5, and a ground. Because there may be a time in the future where I might need, let's say, plus 5 volts or plus 3.3 volts here on my desk for various things. And what I may do is I may keep in a couple of like Molex connectors, maybe a SATA connector. I don't think I'll be running hard drives or anything real sensitive with the bench supply, but we'll keep a 4-pin Molex or 2 available. That way I can power fans and things like that on the table without having to go through any extreme measures. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this little video. Thanks for watching. Well, everybody, that's it for this video, but don't forget there's a lot more interesting stuff on the channel to check out. Also, if this is your first time visiting this channel, feel free to subscribe to keep your channel, and also don't forget to tick the bell so that way you'll get notified of new video posts. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, but if you really didn't like it, there is the alternative option available as well. Also, feel free to check out my second channel, CubeComp MTDX. There you'll find videos about bicycling, weather, elevator tours, and all sorts of other neat, interesting stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to come back, and thank you for your support.